Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Scatterbrain, the Bradford podcast, and these are bass lessons the Scatterbrain way, back to you for another episode. So last week we talked about Vincent Bohannon and SOV. I love to call him. And we did some theory breakdown in it, right? So this week I just kind of want to go back and touch on some concepts of theory that when I was making that video last week, that I was like, man, you know what? This may not be common knowledge of some stuff. So I just want to break down some concepts of some things that will help you. I hope y'all had a good week. I hope you played good music. I hope you had great conversations with good friends. I hope you had. I hope you're in a good mental space. I hope you're creating if you're a creator. And again, thank you all for whoever watches these videos, whoever locked in, subscribe. Before we go any further, make sure you like, comment, share, and most of all, subscribe. Please subscribe. So before we go any further, if you need to hear me play, yes, I can play a little bit. I can play a little bit, just a smidget. Just a smidget. That's enough. So subscribe. You who on the edge about what this dude can do. Please subscribe, and then we'll keep going. All right. So this week, man, I just want to talk about simple concepts of music theory that we should think about when we're trying to describe theory in other places, in like church music, or because in my mind, once you know theory, it's all the same. You know, a German augmented six is the same as something else, or a secondary dominant or something. They're all the same. Like jazz, when I was in college, this is what got me, man. We were learning jazz improv at the same time of theory, right? So it was different classes, jazz improv, but it's a theory behind jazz improv, at least how my professor, Mr. Pinella, was teaching it, right? He had theory to line it up and go with it. But it lined up perfectly with the theory we were going with. So when we got the secondary dominant chords and we would learn stuff like, so if we're in the key of G, right? And we would do like when we would do stuff like that, and we would learn that, like, that's just the 5 of 5. So that G dominant is just the 5 of 5. Oh, dude. And we start. So you mean to tell me secondary dominant in classical and secondary dominant over here are basically the same thing? They just kind of wording it different? So once you learn it, it's applicable. It's applicable to any setting that you're in. So I just want to go over some simple concepts. First concept, when we were talking about that song, and I was saying roots and thirds. This is a concept that I want to make sure we all got when we're talking about chords. So if we're talking about a triad, which is a chord, a triad has the root, the third, and the fifth. It's 3 notes. Triad, of course, it's 3 notes. So if we're in the section of the song that's in G major. What would make a triad in G? What would make a G major triad? A G major triad would be G, B, D. And if you play them all together, so that's root, fifth, third. G, open D, B. So you have that. every chord, every scale degree is gonna have a triad. So you have G major, and then you have A minor, which would be ACE, but in how I'm voicing it right now, so you can hear a chord, is AEC. And then next is B F sharp D, but the correct voicing would be B D F sharp. And then you have C E G, but I'm playing the chord. Remember, I'm playing the chords different than what I'm saying. So that's C G E. The third is on the top, so you can hear it. And then you got D F sharp A. You got E G B. You got F sharp. Ooh, is that right? Yep. You got F sharp A C. Ooh, F sharp A C. Yep, that's it. F sharp A C. Oh. Ooh, there we go. That thing hard to play there, Doc. It's a stretch. There you go, diminish. Back to G, GDB. So every scale degree is gonna have a triad. And now, moving forward, if we say sevenths, every scale degree is gonna have that. But you have triads. And that's what makes the chords. You can add a seventh on there or extensions. Well, before we get to extensions, add sevenths on there. So what would be a diatonic? What does diatonic mean? It's basically every note is in the key center. So what is key center? If we're in G major, it's going to be one sharp. So you're going to have G. Every note is going to be natural besides F sharp. So you have G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Again, that's G, A, B, C, D, E. With the one sharp is F sharp, and then G. So every note that's played that's going to be played diatonically is one of those notes. It's not a C sharp. It's not a G sharp or A sharp or D sharp. It's none of that. Diatonically mean it's all in the key center. So if I'm adding a seventh into what we played, I'm adding F sharp. I'm taking the fifth out, so I wasn't doing that, but I'm taking the fifth out now. So that's G F sharp B. And you got A G C, B A D. Then back to C B E. And you got D. This is dominant, right? So when you get to scale degree 5, it's going to be dominant. It's going to be D, C, F sharp. What makes it dominant? That's another part. That's another thing we're going to talk about. I don't want to confuse too much right now. Then you got E, D, G. Then F sharp, E, A. But what really makes that chord sound funky is the C. Because it's a half diminished once you add the seventh on. Half diminished. Full diminished would mean that E would be E flat. That's full diminished. That E flat will make it fully diminished, but since it's half diminished, and then back to G, F sharp B. So that's the concept of just triads and sevenths. Extensions would add more to the chord. So when I was saying we're going 1, that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing those chords. So when I'm saying we're going 1, 2, sharp 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 5, 1, 2, sharp 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 5, 1. That's how I'm able to hear that. I'm just hearing that off of root motion, thirds, and sometimes sevenths. And what, now that we've discussed that, how do you may be asking, well, how you know what key center you in? So if I'm listening to something, I'm listening for 5 to let me know what key center I'm in. I'm either listening for 5 or what's the note that's repeated the most. I know that's crazy, but like, if the note is repeated, I would know like, okay, that gotta be the key center. But what really lets me know is 5, because you have something called a leading tone. What is a leading tone? Leading tone is most likely the seventh scale degree of the diatonic key center. So if we're in G, the 7th scale degree is again what? F sharp. And it basically when you play it, if I'm in G and this note came out of nowhere, what does it sound like that note want to do? It wants to lead up. Leading tones most of the time lead up. So if I hear, so in 5, if we're just playing the triads, right? Well, let's not play the triads, just not the triads. We're gonna play the dominant, the dominant 7th of it. So I'm about to get it wrong. I don't know which one did it. It may have been Beethoven, Mozart, Bach. Somebody did that a lot. Even in gospel music, it's somebody who did amen, 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 amen. That's just nothing but 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. Again, that's 5, 1. But what makes me know that it's 5 is the I hear the leading tone. So if we was in, let's say, another key, E major, and I heard most of the time it's gonna do that. But sometimes it can fake out to, that's called a deceptional cadence, right? It could do that, but for the most time, it's gonna go 5, 1, 5. So long as I hear that, that lets me know what key center I'm in. So when I'm hearing so again, that's hopefully you can hear that 5, 5, 1. Da, na, na, da, na, na, da, na, na. That lets me know what key center I'm in, because that's just that leading tone lets me know it want to go. And also 5, 5, 1, 5, 5, 1, 5, 5, 1, 5, 5, 1. I hope when you listen to music now, a good exercise to do. So if you're listening like My Girl, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 5, 1, 1. Start trying to sing that or identify that. Start trying to identify those things when you're playing. Or you listen to music. Just ride and listen to music like, oh, that's 5, 1. Oh, that's leading tone. That's 7, 1. That lets you know your key center. So that was one concept. That was one concept. I think I just forgot the other concept that I said I was gonna go back to. Doggone it. Doggone it. But that's half the battle. Knowing what your key center, being able to hear five, being able to hear one, being able to hear that leading tone, those things are half the battle. Once you identify those things, it's easy to spot any other chord. So even when I'm hearing, I know we're doing that 2-3. So how are we getting there? I know, oh, it's a chromatic walk up, and they're just playing the same chord as like a passing chord to the next note. So those instances, being able to hear those things, man, I'm really trying to remember because it was a good point that I wanted to go back to. Man, I had to remember it and put it in the next one. Okay. I know that ain't what that thing made that noise for. You know, we got this little Alexa thing that lets you know when somebody outside, but it just let me know it's gonna be raining tomorrow. But yeah, man, theory isn't as complicated as we make it, man. It really isn't, and it's transferable from most genres. Most genres are transferable. Now, once you get into talking about things like well, it was something we had to do in school, man. I forgot the name of it. I can't remember the name of it, but we basically will reduce music down to the melody, or it was a hard thing. Once you get to doing that stuff, it's hard then. And then once you start really like dissecting stuff for like what its actual name is, it's hard. But for just the general concept of being able to speak language to each other, it's not complex. We need to know things like uh don't say 5.5. Say sharp 5, flat 5. We need to know what those concepts are. So if we're in the key of G and I say sharp 5, what does sharp do? Sharp raises a note. So if we're doing a natural D, if we sharp it, it's gonna go up. And if we flatten D, it's gonna go down. So when you flatten the tire, what does it do? It deflates, so it goes down. If you if you sharpen something, what does it do? It points up or something. I just made that up, but it sounds good though. But if you sharpen something, it's most likely gonna point up. So sharp, we need to know concepts like that of theory. So if I say we doing 2 sharp 2 3, you know I'm just raising 2. We need to know the concepts between what is half diminished and fully diminished. What is a half diminished chord? Is what I showed you earlier. If we're using diatonically, the key center, the fifth is flattened. The fifth is flattened of the chord. So that would be that'd be F sharp, C, E, A. So if we're looking at the chord from lowest note to bottom note, what it should be is F sharp, A, C, E. So a regular minor chord is F sharp, A, C sharp, E. That's a regular minor chord. But to make it half diminished, you flatten the fifth, so you bring the fifth down, and it's C. So now you got F sharp, A, C, E. It just came back to me. So, how can I put this? thirds, knowing what a major third is and a minor third, knowing the difference between a major third and minor third, and knowing how they go together to build chords. So to build a major chord, so if we're going to build a major G, a G major 7, we're going to use a G major 7. G to B is a major third away because G to B is 3 notes, 3 whole steps away. G to B is 3 whole steps away. G to A, A to B. That's 3 whole steps away. B to D is 3 half steps away. They're 3 half steps away from each other. So there go B. So 1, 2, 3. And then D to F sharp is what? 3 whole steps away. So what makes a major third are 3 whole steps away. What makes a minor third are 3 half steps. So major thirds are 3 whole steps away. Minor thirds are 3 half steps away. What are whole steps, half steps? If you're a beginner, tune me out right now. I mean, if you're not a beginner, tune me out right now. But if you're a beginner, 3 whole steps. What is whole step? It's good to see it on the bass. So a whole step is, so in between these right here it's a note in between there. That's a half step, and this is a whole. And then it's the same concept here. What is a half step? So if I'm using that, half step up. So hopefully if you got your instrument, you can see that. But we got those concepts. So the D to F sharp is 3 whole steps away. That's a major third. The B to D is a minor third, and the G to B. And that makes up, the major and minor thirds are what make up chords. When you stack them on top of each other, that's what make a chord. That was the other concept. I'm glad it came back to me. I knew if I thought for enough time, it would come back. But yeah, these simple concepts, we need to be able to recognize 5. We need to be able to recognize the leading tone. We need to be able to recognize, we should know leading tones are going up. We should be able to recognize that, we should be able to hear and recognize 5-1. We should be able to recognize a major third and a minor third. We should be able to recognize the difference between half diminished and fully diminished. What makes a half diminished chord? So so a minor chord, a regular minor chord in the key of G. Let's just use, we'll use F sharp. If it was a regular minor chord, it would be F sharp A C E. That would be it. That if that note, if that scale degree had a regular minor chord on it, it would be F, A sharp, C sharp, E. Why? How does stacking the thirds on a minor chord, what does that look like? So F sharp to A would be what? 3 half steps. A to C sharp would be what? 2 whole steps. C sharp to E would be what? 3 half steps. So that's how you stack minor chords. So it's 3 half steps, 2 whole steps, 3 half steps. Major chords are 2 whole steps, 3 half steps, 2 whole steps, 3 half steps, 2 whole steps. So major 7s. We're talking about major 7s and minor 7 chords. So that if that F sharp, again, if that F sharp was if it was a regular minor chord, it would be F sharp, A, C sharp, E. But what makes it half diminished is you drop the 5th. Because diatonically, is there a C sharp in the scale of G? I mean, in the scale of G. No, in the scale of G major is no C sharp. Remember, it's G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. It's only 1 sharp in the scale of G. So you drop that 5th, and it makes it half diminished. F sharp, A, C, a flat 5th, and then E. What will make it fully diminish would be if you drop the 7th, which is E, you drop the 7th to E flat or D sharp. But we'll just say E flat. D sharp and E flat are the same thing. Inharmonically, they're the same note. But if you drop that now, that will be fully diminished. But going that would be a half diminished. So that is half diminished. That is fully diminished. We should be able to recognize that. We should be able to recognize major 7ths, minor 7ths. What's a major 7? How does that sound? Minor 7. Major 7. Minor 7. And what's the difference between a major 7 and a minor 7? Leading tone to flat. It's not leading. That doesn't lead you anywhere, but that's the difference. We should be able to recognize that. I don't want to throw too much at you, but those are simple concepts that we should grasp first and then go back and watch the last video. Go back and watch it. Hopefully it'll make some more sense to you. Even if it did make sense to you, it'll make more sense that now you got these small concepts. Yeah, like I always say, thank you for watching. Find your grandmama, find your mama, find your daddy, find your granddaddy, find your auntie, your uncle, your cousin, your boo, your bae, your lover, your niece, your nephew, your son, your friend, your daughter, whoever. Find them, hug on them, tell them you love them. Peace out. Y'all be safe. Love y'all, man. Thank you.